everybody is actually looking forward to owning a house.
I was very, very happy when I got the application for the house.
Mortgage can actually work in Nigeria.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Everyone Deserves a Home, a program dedicated to showcasing the efforts and the initiatives of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, in addressing housing challenges. I am Aisha Mohammed Ahmed, your host. The NHF scheme was originally designed for civil servants and is open to both state and federal government workers. The benefits of partaking in the scheme are no doubt enormous, as civil servants can have access to the various products of the FMBN. However, not all states are currently signed into the scheme, and the bank stepped up advocacy to see that those states join. Well, last week, those efforts yielded results with Kano State's reintegration into the NHF scheme. That event is what we shall be focusing on in this episode of the program. Why don't you stay tuned for details after the break? Welcome back. As always, the program will begin with news highlights from the diary of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. In the diary tonight, FMBN briefs Housing Ministry on NHF performance, and Nigeria unveils affordable housing plan at Saudi Real Estate Forum. Stay tuned for the details after the break. The Managing Director, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Shehu Osidi, has reaffirmed the commitment of the bank in strengthening the nation's sector. He made this known during an interactive session with the Minister of State for Housing and Urban Development, Alhaji Yusuf Abdullahi Atta, and the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Dr. Shuaibu Muhammad Lamido Belgore, to enlighten them about the National Housing Fund scheme. The MD in his brief provided an in-depth review of the bank's mandates, its role in housing finance, and an assessment of the National Housing Fund (NHF) resources, the bank's core functions, the process of loan disbursement, and other information about the bank.
The NHF Act provides that every Nigerian worker, according to the existing law, any salary of 30,000 and above is mandated. It's a compulsory provision that they must contribute 2.5% of their salaries to the fund. But because of what we know has happened in terms of the inflationary pressure in Nigeria, we know that 30,000 is no longer realistic. So in the amendment that we are proposing, we are now making a provision in that act to reflect monthly income. So I will also be coming to that slide. Also, but like I said, that is the basic function of the bank for now. And so the resources of the National Housing Fund majorly is this contribution. Now, the function of the bank also involves wholesale mortgage loans to primary mortgage banks, which means that a primary mortgage institution, the likes of ASO Savings and Loans, Platinum Savings and Loan, and so on, are required by law to package what we call NHF loans to the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria.
One major issue discussed at the meeting was the recapitalization of the bank, as the MD reported that the Minister of Housing and Urban Development has made a presentation on the matter to the Federal Executive Council. The Minister of State, Honorable Yusuf Abdullahi Atta, in his remarks after the presentation, urged the bank to consult with the ministry as regards the issue of the bank's recapitalization. On his part, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Housing, Dr. Shuaibu Belgore, commended the FMBN for the comprehensive report and its effort in strengthening Nigeria's housing financial sector. He raised questions around the issue of the recapitalization of the bank.
You had spoken about the recapitalization, and considering that the bank is owned by three shareholders, the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, the Central Bank, as well as the NSITF. Yes. But towards the end of your presentation, you also mentioned BPE.
Okay.
I think perhaps you mentioned BPE instead of NSITF. I don't know where BPE comes in there.
The mention I made about BPE, sir, was when I was talking about the stakeholders after the minister made a presentation on our recapitalization to FEC. And then FEC directed that we should engage other stakeholders like the central bank, the BPE, the Ministry of Finance Incorporated on the issue of the recapitalization of the bank. Otherwise, BP is not a shareholder.
The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Dengiwa, has outlined key initiatives aimed at addressing urbanization, affordability and sustainability in Nigeria's housing sector, particularly through the federal government. He shared these plans at the Saudi Arabia Real Estate Forum in Riyadh. The forum, themed Balance and Innovation in the Real Estate Landscape, featured esteemed panelists including His Excellency Engineer Abdullah Al-Attiyah, Minister of Municipality, Qatar, and His Excellency Dr. Abdullah Mutallib, Minister of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure, Republic of Maldives. A central focus of Nigeria's housing strategy is the Renewed Hope Housing Agenda, which seeks to deliver larger-scale housing projects through public-private partnerships and innovative financing. Dengiwa highlighted that high mortgages interest rates, sometimes reaching as high as 30% per annum, have historically made home ownership unattainable for many Nigerians. To address this challenge, he announced that the government is expanding the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, and recapitalizing it with 500 billion naira. This initiative, he said, aims to provide more affordable, lower interest mortgages and rent-to-own schemes, enabling Nigerians to transition from renting to home ownership through flexible payment plans. He also emphasized that ongoing land reforms and urban renewal projects are designed to streamline property ownership process and improve slum areas. Dengiwa also underscored the importance of global partnership to attract investment and expertise that will support Nigeria's housing objectives. These initiatives represent significant steps towards reducing the housing deficit and increasing home ownership opportunities. Thanks for staying with us. Expanding access to affordable housing through the National Housing Fund (NHF) remains a key priority for the FMBN. The recent reintegration of Kano into the NHF scheme marks a significant step forward in providing more opportunities for home ownership to staff of the Kano State Government. In our next segment, we'll bring you highlights from the formal ceremony, what it means for the people of Kano, and how FMBN is working to ensure more Nigerians benefit from the NHF. Stay tuned.
The Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, was established to help average Nigerian workers own homes of their own through the provision of mortgage facilities under the National Housing Fund scheme. This opportunity is open to both federal and state civil servants who are registered onto the NHF scheme. And to ensure access to all Nigerians, the bank has offices in every state of the federation so that civil servants, in spite of their location, can acquire houses from FMBN-funded estates or access loans to construct their own homes. Kano State, in the last couple of years, has had about 10 FMBN-funded estates from which federal civil servants have become homeowners. However, employees of the Kano State government have been excluded because of the state's non-participation in the NHF scheme. It was therefore historic when on Friday the 31st of January 2025, Kano State made a comeback to the NHF scheme after 22 years of non-participation due to operational modalities. That was the signing of the Memorandum of Agreement between the FMBN and Kano State Government, marking the reintegration of the state in the National Housing Fund scheme after 22 years since the state exited the scheme. With the signing of the Memorandum of Agreement, more than 166,000 staff, both at the state and local government level of Kano State, have rejoined the National Housing Fund scheme, becoming fully eligible to benefit from all products of the bank.
For his visionary leadership.
Speaking after the official signing of the Memorandum of Agreement, Managing Director of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Shehu Usman Osidi, highlighted some of the efforts put in place by the bank and other stakeholders to ensure the reintegration of Kano State into the scheme.
Ladies and gentlemen, you will recall that on the 23rd of May 2024, at the launching of the renewed Hope Estate in Lambu, Tofa local government, I made a passionate plea to His Excellency to give effect to the pronouncement he made at the 2024 May Day celebration regarding the state's intention to return to the National Housing Fund scheme. That prayer has been formally answered today, and we are immensely grateful to His Excellency. I must also recognize the pivotal roles played by the head of service, Alhaji Abdullahi Musa, and the leadership of the labor unions in ensuring that workers in Kano State can once again benefit from the immense opportunities provided by the NHF scheme.
Osidi further explained some of the available products of the FMBN for all enrollees of the National Housing Fund scheme, from which Kano State now stands to benefit.
The NHF mortgage loans at single-digit interest rates for home ownership. 2, individual construction loans that allows individuals to build houses by themselves. 3, home renovation loans to improve existing houses. 4, cooperative housing development loan that allows members of cooperative societies to own their homes. And then the rent-to-own scheme that allow workers to own their houses while paying rent.
The Managing Director further used the medium to extend the appreciation of the FMBN to all stakeholders who made the reintegration of Kano State into the scheme a reality, especially the Kano State Governor, Alhaji Abba Kabir Yusuf.
Let me once again express my profound gratitude to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, the head of service, the leadership of the labor unions, and all stakeholders who have worked tirelessly to make this day a reality. Today's signing ceremony is a bold step towards empowering Kano State workers with the dignity of home ownership and financial security. We look forward to a fruitful and mutually beneficial relationship as we work together to deliver decent, affordable, and accessible housing for the hard-working people of Kano State.
I feel honored and enjoyed today.
Speaking earlier, Kano State Head of Civil Service, Mala Abdullahi Musa, who represented the Kano State government in the signing of the Memorandum of Agreement, noted that the re-entry of the state into the scheme is the only way through which the state can prove its commitment to the welfare of Kano State civil servants.
Housing remains a fundamental component of workers' welfare. Access to decent and affordable accommodation directly impact productivity, financial security, and overall well-being of the worker. Recognizing these imperatives, Kano State government has deemed it necessary under the leadership of Alhaji Abba Kabir Yusuf to reintegrate into the National Housing Scheme to bridge the existing housing gap and provide civil servants with sustainable home ownership opportunities.
The head of service therefore pledged the commitment of the Kano State government to implement all terms as contained in the Memorandum of Agreement and called on civil servants in the state to cooperate with the bank for the realization of the maximum benefits of the scheme.
I want to affirm to our guests that Kano State government, under the able leadership of our governor, will remain resolute in ensuring the full implementation of this MOU. We will be committed to work closely with the bank and all relevant agencies to guarantee seamless execution of the scheme. I urge all stakeholders, particularly our civil servants, to embrace this initiative and maximize its benefits.
If there is any blame to take, we take it to ourselves.
Speaking on behalf of the entire Kano State workforce, Comrade Kabiru Inua, who is the chairman of Nigeria Labour Congress Kano State chapter, noted that Kano State workers voluntarily consented to go back to the scheme and are well informed about their obligations.
We consent to this program. We agreed to it. So whatever, if the credit comes, let it go to the government. But any other thing is on us. Because we were asked, do you agree? We said, yes, we agreed. The way a manner, the most strategic manager we ever had in Kano, that is poaching our staff, poaching us, going around the ministries and telling them to come back, I will give you loan. Those people need to be protected. They need our protection. How do we protect them? Let all of us go back. There is no way we can say no to whatever will uplift Kano State.
Welcome back. The program is still Everyone Deserves a Home. In our next segment, we'll bring you the inspiring journey of one of the beneficiaries of the NHF scheme, Engineer Adetayo Olukumbola, as he shares with us his experience and the step he took towards achieving his dream of home ownership. Enjoy his story.
I can assure all Nigerians that if you apply, once it is available, you will get.
Definitely the scheme is real.
It's a big testimony to stop paying rent.
Excellent. Seriously excellent.
It works and is real.
Meet Engineer Adetayo Olukumbola, a dedicated government worker who now takes pride in owning a beautiful 3-bedroom bungalow in Abiskoli Estate, Kuje, Abuja. His journey began with a spark of curiosity.
I found out that there was housing fund that was already being deducted from my salary. I asked, what is it? I was like, oh, so what I was told was, you get the money upon retirement if you don't do anything with it. And I asked them, how do you do something with it? I've been in government for more than 10 years. And over the years, I just asked people, but you're like, oh, don't worry, just wait for the money at the end of upon retirement. So I kept asking around. Then I met a friend that said, the father retired from road safety and said, try and look for any housing scheme. Discuss with them, check if they are under Federal Mortgage Bank or if they are under Loans Board, and apply. That would be the best advice he can give his daughter. So his daughter gave me the advice.
As a homeowner, Engineer Adetayo reveals how fascinated he was with the outstanding quality of the product offered to him.
I thought Abuja, just looking for, and luckily somebody told me, said, oh yeah, we have someone, and called her. She brought me to Kuje. I think that was my second time in Kuje. And I saw the house and I'm like, this by far stands as the best amongst everything I have seen. And the quality was good, was amazing. The quality really is very good. Because I've been here through the rain and through the dry season. So along the line, there was a time it was windy. There was heavy downpour with strong currents, wind currents. I called the estate agent and a developer, and I said, I've made up my mind, my roof is gone. But the rain came, the wind passed, and my roof was still standing. And that was when I knew, okay, yes, the quality was good.
He encourages Nigerian workers to give the NHF scheme a trial, assuring its validity and credibility.
To be conservative, 45% of my colleagues still don't understand the concept of a mortgage. And I asked them, I said, why? But when a lot of people come and say, you've gotten a house, I know how many people I would refer to her. Everybody keep calling her how? How? I'm like, what is how? Be informed. You see, like, let your work speak for you. So when this person comes and says, okay, yes, I'm a testament to that. The next person comes and testament to that. People begin to understand that, oh, it's valid and it works. You know, I have people say, oh no, maybe the mortgage person is a scammer, like scammer that is verified by government. No. So, but when they see me and they're like, oh, they look at me again like, I'm not a scammer, I'm not a fraudster, I'm not a Yahoo boy, I'm not. But I tell them, this is mine. Come to my house and say it. So I put this out to people and I tell them again, I said, my fellow colleagues, fellow Nigerians, every civil servant, every public servant, if you want, please in quotes, if you want, the mortgage is out there. Regardless, it cuts across all sectors. I have people that have even told private companies that haven't begun to teach their staff how to do mortgage. They put them on the housing fund. And I'm like, so if some people know about it. So if you want, you need to what? Go for it.
His story serves as a testament to the transformative power of owning a home through trusted support.
Our question for the week is, can someone who has attained 35 years in service and does not necessarily clock 60 years of age apply for his or her NHF fund?
The law is very specific in saying that the applicants for refund must be 60 years of age, but there is another provision which also says inability to make continuous contributions to the National Housing Fund. So in a case in which somebody has attained 35 years in service but has not attained the age of 60 years, we also make that provision for a refund to that individual because he has attained the maximum working length of time, which is 35 years in service. So in that case, we oblige a request for refund in such cases.
And that's our package on tonight's edition of Everyone Deserves a Home. Join me again same time next week on this same station for another exciting edition. Let me encourage you to log on to FMBN's website on www.fmbn.gov.ng for more details about the NHF scheme, or better still, you can stop by at any FMBN branch offices near you for more information about mortgages and how you can become a home owner. Have a good night.